If you're familiar with our training, you know we follow the KISS principle, the keep it simple, silly philosophy. And we built the contact manager with that same principle in mind. So in this video, I'll show you what you need to do on a daily basis to get the most out of the system to help you build your business. Now with that KISS principle in mind, we built the system so it'll display the people that you need to engage that day. So it'll show any new contacts that have come in, any contacts not engaged from the day before, and those people will carry forward indefinitely, any follow-ups you have, so both reminders and scheduled appointments, and any inactive contacts that did something, like who called you back or emailed you or visited one of our marketing websites where we can track who visits them, and they'll reappear on the page. And so this goes across all three of our pages: the contacts, the customers, and the team pages. So what you need to do on a daily basis is log into the system and engage each contact on each page until all the pages are empty. So rather than me try to explain what I do and what I train my team to do on a daily basis, I'm going to show you. So I'm at MLMCompletePackage.com, and I would go to the login page, type in my login details, and that takes me to the guide page. So the very first thing I do whenever I log in is I always look at that upper left-hand corner for that next three. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. But what the next three tells you is it shows you up to the next 3 scheduled appointments you have in the next 24 hours. This way you don't overlook a specific person to follow up with at a specific time while you're going through and clearing your pages. So you'll see here it shows the first one on Friday, May 23rd at 8:45 a.m. I need to call Chris 7. And if I go to the next one, Friday, May 23rd at 9 a.m., I need to call Chris-1. So I just glance there real fast to see who I have coming up, and this helps me avoid missing any follow-up appointments I have. So once I glance at that, and that usually takes me a few seconds, now that I'm in the habit of it, I immediately go to my contacts page. And then what I do is I scroll up and down this page to see how many people I need to engage today. So I've got 4 people on here. So it's not a whole lot, but it's a handful of people. I then look over to the time column. That's the second to last column on the right. And for some contacts, the system knows what time zone they're in. And if it does, it'll display what time it is at their location. So if you're calling in the evening when you get home from work, this is really valuable because it'll show you what time zone it is for that person, and that way you can call the people where it's getting late first and then work back to other parts of the country. So start with calling the East Coast people, then Central Time, then Mountain Time, then West Coast Time. I generally never call anyone past 9 o'clock in the evening unless I have a scheduled time to talk to them then. So since I'm calling in the middle of the day right now, it really doesn't matter because it's showing 11:51, 2:51, and 12:51. So I would just start at the top and start going down my contacts here. So I would first go to the notes, see what type of notes are added in here. And since these are all test contacts, there really are no notes attached to them, but just for this example, pretend there are. So I would scan it real quickly to see where this person came from, what they've put in the website, or where I met them, whatever. And I always check the call counter to see how many times I've tried to engage them. And since they're in the connect step, that's going to be 0. But again, it's a habit I'm into. And then I come over here and I start that 4-step engagement process. So I'm going to pick up the phone, call this person, and I left him a message. So I didn't talk to him, so I'm going to do the develop step with him and start developing the relationship. The system gives you the option of sending out an email through the system if their email address is in there. So I'll say yes, and it gives you a pre-formatted email with their name, their phone number, and your contact details in here. So you can edit this if you want to. Say whatever you want in here. Click next step. And since I left him a message today and then talk to him, that means I'm going to set a reminder for him. And I usually call people 2 days after my initial voicemail. Type in any pertinent notes here. Click update contact. And now it takes me back to the contacts page. And that contact is no longer on the page because I engaged them, and it's starting to clear the page for me. And also when I clicked update contact, the system also sent out that email I wrote the person to his email from my email address. So I'll move on to the next person, click view, check the notes, check the call counter, and then pick up the phone and call the person again. So this time he actually answers the phone. So we have a conversation. I'm actually going to introduce him. And since I spoke to him and we talked about specific details, I'm going to talk to him after the weekend on Monday evening. Monday at 5:45. Click save. Next step. Type in the notes to recap our conversation and what I learned about him. Click update contact. Now that person's off the page here, and now I'm on to my next contact. So I scroll down, no more in connect, no more in develop, and now I'm in my follow-up stage here. So we'll click view. I'll review my notes. See how many times I've attempted to call the person on the call counter. And now I'm going to pick up the phone, call him, and we had a conversation. So he looked at the information, but needs more details. So I'll click need more information. And we agreed to talk on Friday night. Schedule that in the calendar. Click next step. Type in my notes on what we talked about and what new information I'm going to share with him and send him over email. Update contact. And now that person is off the page. So before I move on to the next person, I hope you're following along here. I know I'm going pretty fast while also giving you commentary. But I want to show you the flow or the rhythm I get into and the successful people in MLM get into, because they sit down and they just start going through all the people they need to talk with and engage them. So hopefully you can see you don't have to go through spiral notebooks or a bunch of sticky notes laying around your computer or try and remember who to call when or who to call next. If you use this system, it really allows you to crank and be incredibly efficient with your time, because you sit down and you just click on everyone's name that appears on the page. So we'll click to this last person here, review the notes, look at the call counter, and then choose a media type. He didn't answer. I'll leave a message. Yes, send an email. And I would normally adjust this to fit our conversation. Let's pretend I do that. Click next step. And since we didn't talk, I'm going to set a reminder, since there's not a specific time I need to call him again. So I'll set a reminder, and I'm going to call him Saturday morning, because I usually spend an hour or two on Saturday doing some prospecting as well. So type in any notes here. Click update contact. And now he's off the page, and my contacts page is clear. Now I move to my customers page. And I've got one customer under retain, so that usually means it's a established customer who's on like a regular auto delivery or auto shipment of my products. So I'll click view, and normally, you see the customer's name, you know who they are and what they're doing. But again, I still check the notes to see the last time I spoke to him or any things he emailed me. Come back here, and you know what? I'm just following up with this person. One of the strategies that I do is once a person becomes a long-term customer, I try to engage them at least once a month. Doesn't always mean a phone call, but I'll try to send them an email at the very least with some information or an article that might resonate with them. Like our company has a blog they do on a regular basis, or they publish new flyers, and I always keep my eyes open for what information would catch one of my customers' eyes. So for this person, I'm actually going to send him an email with a link to a recent blog entry about a topic that he would find interesting. So I'm going to click email, and I'll click I'm going to send the message to him, and I'm going to set a reminder since I didn't talk to him. And this is May 22nd. I want to engage him again in 30 days, so we'll say June 22nd. Type in my notes here on what link I sent him, and click update contact. Now before I actually click update contact, you'll notice the system didn't ask me if I want to send an email through the system. And that's because there's no email address for the contact in the system. So the system only brings up that message of, do you want to send an email, yes or no, if you've actually put the contact's email address in the system. So since I don't have his address in the system, and normally I would, I just forgot to in this test contact, I would go to my Gmail account and send him an email through there. So I'll click update contact, and now he's off the page and my customer's page is clear. Time to move to the team section. And for the team section, don't worry about the collaborate section as far as clearing those people's names. That section works a little bit differently. Just look at the bootcamp and the duplicate section. So I have no one to engage in the bootcamp and no one to engage in the duplicate. So now since this page, the customers page, and the contacts page are all clear, that means I've accomplished all my engagements that I needed to for the day. So again, you see how fast I went through that. So imagine how efficient and how effective you'll be once you get used to the system, once you start putting your contacts in here to organize them, and imagine in a big picture what happens when you start having your downline, whether it's your current downline or your future downline, using the system with all the contacts in here. The time it took me to go through 10 contacts is the time it takes a lot of people to go through one or two people, because they're flipping around on notebooks and checking emails on their iPhone and looking for sticky notes they left laying around, trying to figure out who I need to call when, what do I do, what did I send this person, I can't remember. And also, I don't have people slip through the cracks. If you're not using a contact system, you will have people slip through the cracks. So that'll wrap it up for this video. But I will end with this, that this is a very important video because it shows you that daily activity, that daily habit I want you to get into. And this is something I drive home with my team members and also the people that I'm mentoring, because the people who get in this habit of using the system, logging in every day, and clearing their pages, they get results. I'm not kidding when I say people in my downline who use this, almost on a weekly basis, each distributor is getting either a new customer or a new associate in the organization. It's not because they're doing anything magical, it's because they're following the process, they're using the system, and they're also very focused on their business because they know exactly what they need to do on a daily basis.